Okay. Well, I can tell you. One night I was to perform at a show, and this was maybe a couple of weeks after we got our deal, and we did our record release party, and it was a success. Everything was going good, except for that night. I found out the girl that I was with was pregnant, and this would be my first child. Now, I found out that she was pregnant with maybe a month before the show happened, before the record release party happened. And I know that I was going through like all kinds of thoughts, like, I'm right here on the verge of my career breaking loose for me, and now I'm going to have a child, and I didn't know if it was a boy or a girl at the time. Um, and I was just confused, but I wanted to do the right thing. So the night of the show, I was getting ready to go on stage, and the girl that was pregnant by me, we were not married, so obviously we were living in sin. Um, and she came up to me and she told me that she was going to leave me and to not bother trying to find her. And this happened before I went out on stage. The night it was the biggest night of my career, right? And she told me this right before I went out to perform. Well, anyways, I went out. I was a professional. I did the best I could. It was a success. And immediately, right after the show, I was trying to find her. I went up to her friends and I asked where she was. Nobody would tell me anything. I started calling all her friends after the show. She was gone, like she told me she would be gone. So now at this point in my life, I'm going through a big depression. Um, I should be very happy and excited that finally I'm getting to the pinnacle where, my career should start taking off now from all the 10 to 12 years of work I put in through, really, I put in a lot of hard work to get to the point I was at. And now I should be happy, but I'm miserable, right? I'm very sad, and I'm questioning life, and I don't know what to do at this point. So I stopped going to rehearsal, and we have these shows booked, and I eventually am just hanging out with different people, and I may have opened up a door at this time. I don't know, because I'm living my life like couch to couch at this point. And so the night we're supposed to perform, I decide that I'm not going to the show. And for some weird reason, the band also knew that I would not show up. They had been rehearsing with another singer. And I don't know how, maybe because I wasn't staying in communication with them, I was just drifting away. But, anyways, this night of the show, I was hanging out with this girl, and she told me that it would be okay if I stayed at her place. And she left saying that she had to go to work. Don't know if she was going to our show or not. But I was left in this house by myself, and on the right side where I was sitting on this little three-person couch, there were three candles burning. And on the left side, there were three candles burning. And directly ahead of me, maybe, let's say 25 feet away, was a mirror. So I'm sitting on this couch facing myself in a mirror, and I could see my reflection. And it's not lit up. The only light in the whole place were the candles. And I was up on a loft, so I was in a loft area, which was her bedroom, I guess, like where she lived. It was like a studio bedroom type of place in a house. And so I'm looking across at my reflection, and I see my face, and it looks like me, but it's kind of contorted, right? And my eyes are kind of slanted up, and I look really demonic. It's got a really mean face with a smirk, like a devilish grin type of smirk, looking back at myself. And I'm just looking at my face, going, "What the heck is going on?" I'm rubbing my eyes, looking back at the reflection. It did not change. And so I look away and I look back again. And now on the couch that I'm sitting on, there are actually two people sitting there with me. And on the left side of me is an old Indian woman, like really long gray black hair, really old. And on the right side is an old Indian man, right? And as I look in the mirror, I see them both clearly. And I look away from the mirror and I look to my left, I don't see anything next to me. And I look to my right, I see nothing next to me. And now I'm kind of freaking out, but for some reason, I am very calm with what's going on. You know, I should be very like scared, right? But I'm not. I'm just very interested in trying to see and figure out what the heck is going on. Then all of a sudden, the candles on the right side of me start flickering up. Now, you know, like a candle flame is maybe, you know, like an inch. Well, these were flying up in the sky like maybe 6 to 8 inches, just making a noise like a, right? And all of a sudden, all the different candles now, there's three on the right, three on the left, are doing this, right? Off and on, off and on. And then they stop. And all of a sudden, I'm feeling like the left side of my body charged up. And my pant leg actually starts creeping up all by itself, right? And I'm kind of freaking out on it now. I'm like, what the heck is going on? One side of my body is feeling dead and cold and just not alive anymore. And the other side is just on fire and all charged up. And now at this point, I look back in the mirror and everything is going on. And I just stand up like I almost get mad, right? And I stand up and I go charging towards the mirror. And on the left side, there's a little bookshelf that underneath where the candles were, a Bible falls out on the floor and opens up. I believe it was one of the letters Paul wrote. And I just picked up the Bible and I just started reading it. And as soon as I did that, everything in the room changed. The candles went back to normal. My pant leg went back down. The reflections in the mirror were gone. And then there was a big boom, and the whole room shook. And I didn't know what the heck it was. I thought maybe California had an earthquake. I was in Southern California, Hollywood area. And I thought there was an earthquake, you know, because we have them. And there was no earthquake, I found out later. And I left this night like that. And all of a sudden, after I started reading the Bible and it all calmed down, then the fear of what happened just to me that night, just all of a sudden, I started feeling a little of the fear and I just wanted to get out of that place. And so I started calling people to try to find a ride and I just couldn't find one. So I just left and I actually walked for miles that night until I got to my mother's house. Excuse me. And I could never find out like what the heck was happening to me, because that wasn't the only experience I had within a couple of weeks. And I ended up leaving the business after these things happened. But as time went by, I started asking questions to like parapsychologists to try to figure out what it was. And then as I told you earlier, that I finally got on my knees and asked the Lord to help me and to figure out what it was. Now I come to find out that these things have happened to other people, and there's witchcraft in the world, and you know there's darkness especially in the music business. There's a lot of darkness in that, and I must have opened up a door somehow. And I know, you know, I was doing all kinds of different things, and there's pharmakia. I was doing drugs at the time. So it was very easy that I could have opened up not only one door, but probably a few. And I come to find out that even that big boom that happened was a demon that was leaving. So the thing that I don't know at this point, and I still don't know, I'm still trying to find out through the Lord or anybody who could help me, is what was happening to me. Was I going to be some type of sacrifice? Were they trying to fill me with demons? Because I was at that point in my career to where I was either going to go to the next stage or not. But after all that happened to me, the band that I was I had a band. It was Lancia. The picture that you're showing right now was the band. The three guys minus me in that picture right there went on to become famous. They became the band Atomic Punks, which was a band that covered Van Halen, and which turned out Ralph Saines was the singer, and he's now in a fairly popular band that's still doing their thing. So I don't know like what it was about. I still don't have those answers, whether I was being filled with very strong demons enough to shake the house, um, or if I was a sacrifice of some kind. I still don't know, but I didn't stick around California to find out. I moved right away. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to share at this time. But if you know anybody who I can get answers from, I would love to talk to them. Thanks for listening.